Hi, I'm Tia with Badass Therapy, and I want to thank you for joining me for video 2 of 6 in our Cues of Safety and Danger series. Hour. I don't know why I said hour. I'm the only person here. Um, so, first, we got to kind of do a little bit of a biology lesson. So, we have our autonomic nervous system, and that's the part of our nervous system that automatically runs body processes like our heartbeat, breathing. So, the autonomic nervous system is broken down into two main parts: the parasympathetic nervous system, which controls all of those systems during ordinary situations, and our sympathetic nervous system, which prepares the body for stressful or emergency situations. So, it's these, autonomic nervous system controls these processes, and parasympathetic controls them during everyday, sympathetic controls them when we're stressed out. Many people refer to the sympathetic nervous system as fight or flight. It's slightly more complicated than that. But the sympathetic nervous system mobilizes our body to protect itself through action, right? So that's why lots of people refer to it as fight or flight, right? So I'm either going to fight this threat or I'm going to run away from this threat. And so when our sympathetic nervous system is activated, it increases your heart rate. It widens your airways so that you can breathe easier. It causes your body to release stored energy. So it floods your muscles with energy so that you can fight or run away. It increases your muscle strength, same reason. Causes your palms to sweat, not sure why that one. It causes your pupils to dilate because it wants to make sure that your eyes are taking in as much information as possible. And it causes your hair to stand on end. And I think there was something that I read forever ago about this, that increases your responsivity to your environment, right? You can feel the wind on your fur. And so it creates all these different situations, right? It slows down your systems that it thinks are not important during an emergency. Slows down your digestion, slows down urination, slows down your reproduction, right? So in the middle of running from a tiger, I don't need to take time to digest my food. I don't need to stop to take a pee. I don't need to stop to take a poop. I don't need to be making babies. It also turns off our higher cortical functions, right? So this part of our brain that makes good decisions, right? That part is turned off, right? Because in the middle of, running from this tiger, it's probably here in Colorado, it's more likely a wolf or a bear, right? I don't need to be really making complex mathematical equations. I don't need to be thinking about the best way to farm, right? Like, I just need to think, run, hide, right? Like, fight this thing, right? There's these really baseline functions that I need to be able to do. And so these higher cortical functions, these higher brain functions, good decision making, that just shuts off. And so it also turns off the verbal sensors of our brain, right? So that part of us that goes into social engagement. And so, right, with the wolf, I don't need to be sitting down to chat with it. And so part of what happens is that when we get into this really highly stressed space, people want us to be able to chat. They want us to be able to make good choices. And you have to calm yourself down. You have to calm your body back down before any of those systems can go back online, right? So I talk to parents of teens about this a lot, right? The idea that your teen can make good decisions when they're mad at you, right? Or the fact that you think that they can understand the words, right? I always talk to parents about how when you're talking to your kids, like fewer words, like short sentences, not a lot of words, right? Because our brain isn't processing words very well, right? We're not able to engage socially, right? We're not able to care about your feelings, right? I'm not able to, wonder how you're feeling or any of those things, right? When I'm in the midst of this fight or flight response, right? So it tends to come up in parenting more, but it comes up in all of our interactions, right? This is the reason for taking a break. During your break, making sure that you're slowing your breathing down, making sure that you're taking a drink of water, right? Making sure that you're doing things that trigger your nervous system to calm down. So in Deb Dana talking about this, she talked about that when you're in this sympathetic nervous system response, that you might feel anxious, you might feel panicked, alarmed, hypervigilant. Again, the hypervigilant is, right, like I'm listening to the sound down the hall. I'm, paying attention to what my kitty's doing down here. I'm, right, super jumpy. I may feel a sense of unease. I may feel a sense of impending danger. Because those things have shifted, I'm going to feel separated. I'm going to feel cut off from other people. I may feel disconnected from myself. I may feel disconnected from the world around me. I may enter into deer in the headlights freeze. So there's two different kinds of freeze, right? So in this sort of fight or flighty activated level of freeze, freeze looks like I'm just, pausing and really staring at things, right? I feel like this moment of I can't move. That is very different from a different type of freeze that we're going to talk about later. So, part of what Deb talks about is really starting to be able to identify when you're in each of these stages that we're going to talk about. So, when I'm in that sympathetic place, right? So, I want you to think about a time that you felt a sense of unease, that you felt ready to fight or run away. In order to identify what this feels like for you, right? We're just going to kind of imagine it right now. So, I want you to think about what happens in your body when you feel this way. Right? So when I listed off all those things that happen in your body, how do you feel those? What does that feel like for you? When you're in this space of wanting to fight or run away, what things do you do? How do you feel in your body? What emotions are you feeling? What are you thinking about? When you're in this edgy place, what happens to your sleep? What happens to your eating habits? Your substance use, caffeine, cigarettes, marijuana, alcohol, right? Those compulsive addictive behaviors, right? With compulsive addictive behaviors, right? For some people, that might be exercising. For some people, it might be eating sugar, might be drugs and alcohol. What color would describe this state for you? If you were to call this something else, right? Sympathetic nervous system response. Not very cool, right? It's also a very long phrase, right? So for yourself, right, in order to communicate with your therapist, right, what would you call this? To communicate with your friends. Deb Dana gives the examples of sunny, stormy, and foggy, right? So for some people, this might be stormy. When you're in this space, how would you complete the sentences, I am? The world is. And when you're in this space, asking yourself this question, what does my nervous system need in this moment to find the way home to feeling safe and social and stay there? Anchor there. She talks about anchoring there because it's the idea that we don't always get to stay in safe and social, right? We have to have this flexibility, right? So when we're thinking about this sympathetic nervous system response, right, being able to identify what that looks like for you, how does that impact you? Is there a shorter term that you can use that you can teach your friends and family, that you can teach your therapist so that they know how to respond to these pieces? So again, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. This is video 2 of 6. There are 3 more, so I really hope that you decide to join me for the next video.